Welcome. We'll get started shortly. Before we begin, here's how to earn continuing professional education credit for attending this session. There are no polling questions or attendance checks. Instead, you will demonstrate your knowledge by taking a brief multiple-choice quiz using the Earmark app. Visit earmark.app in your web browser. You can also download the mobile app by scanning the QR code on the screen. Log in, or if you're new, create your free account. Be sure to use a valid email address because that's where we'll send your course completion certificates. From the home screen, scroll down to find the course. You can also tap the magnifying glass icon to search for the course. Tap on the course artwork, then the Enroll button. On the Course tab, you'll find the recording and quiz questions. Complete the quiz to earn your CPE certificate. It takes us a few days to create the course on the app, so if you are attending this session live, please wait a few days. We'll email you a link to the course when it is ready. If you have questions or need help, email us at support@earmarkcpe.com. And now, on to the event.
Welcome to another Workshop Wednesday, casual conversations for serious workflows, when there's nothing more casual than having these serious conversations or serious workflow discussions while I'm in Mexico.
Ew.
Sorry, Shanna.
I'm just jealous.
Of course, the workshop is always brought to you by schoolofbookkeeping.com, where it allows you to keep learning QuickBooks your way. So we are coming in for a landing for our job costing series. This is number 7 in part 7 of 7, where we are now kind of wrapping up this series and all about job costing in QuickBooks Online. And Job Costing Ninja joining us today is Shanna Quinn, as per usual, in sunny Florida, but not in Mexico. Sorry,
not Mexico. But it is a really beautiful day. This again, I feel like I said this last week too, but this is another week when people come to Florida and they're like, yes, this is what I want to live in, and this is the decision that they base off of this one day every week, once a week for the winter in Florida.
Mm-hmm. And then they are lulled into joining, coming to Florida, and then it's either, does it get much? It does get colder, as it gets into the winter, but as far as the summer, it's just miserable, right?
Well, I'm from here, so I won't say that because I think I'm used to it. But it is, for others, it's definitely hot and it's humid, so, but I'm used to it. I don't think I can live anywhere else ever.
And there are certain requirements for your home. You got to have a lanai, right?
Yes, this is not my home. Right now, my office looks like a Christmas workshop. This is where all the gifts get stored and hidden, and the wrapping paper becomes like all over the place. So it's actually a very unorganized workshop right now because I was trying to knock a bunch of stuff out early this morning when my cat woke me up. So, which not the best time to wrap gifts. As I look back what I did at 3:00 this morning, I definitely will have to redo some of those gifts because they're for our nephews who are younger, and they're from Santa, and Santa's workshop would definitely do a better job than that.
Right. All right. Well, let's dive into our topic of the day, which is all about kind of efficiencies, right? We want to talk about some workflows and automations and things that we can we can do or recommend to clients in this industry that help streamline those things. Because at School of Bookkeeping, and I'm sure Shanna will also agree, anytime that you can streamline or remove a process that is typically done by humans, is just going to help with that. What are some of the greatest hits of things that you've seen that are typically obstacles in the efficiency of this type of industry, Shauna?
Well, so we use third-party products with all of our clients. Well, and QBO even would be one of them, where we can't completely automate everything because we still have so much input that we need from our clients, and automation and AI have not gotten smart enough for their systems to know the job costing code to put it to, or what job to put it to, even if it's written in the bill or the receipt. And to be honest, I'm actually okay with that. There's been some talk sometimes about maybe my clients just want to be able to book it themselves, but I just don't trust them. And I feel like we have to fix so many time entries that they select themselves that I can't imagine how many expenses and bills that I would have to fix if they decided and entered them directly into the system. So hard pass on that. But yeah. I think that the ones that we use a lot, right? We use Bill.com for a lot of our clients that we outsource. They outsource their payables and full payments and stuff to us. And that grabs just enough information that it does make it helpful, as does HubDoc for receipt processing. And right now we're actually in the process of moving over as of January to using Double's receipt processing, and in testing that multiple times to make sure that it will work the way that we want it to, given all the different circumstances of how our clients manage receipt processing, because everything depends on how they do their business and how they invoice. All of them, I will say, are kind of up to speed, and that it does do a really good job at grabbing resource numbers, which are your invoice numbers, right? Reference numbers, the vendor name, those kinds of things. And then it makes suggestions of things. So it definitely is helpful. And in that we still have to make sure that we're double checking to make sure it grabs the right information, obviously. But that does save us time instead of having to manually enter every single bill for that vendor over and over and over again from A to Z. We're reviewing A through L and then just doing M through Z on our own.
Right. Yeah, because that's really the role that that technology and AI are playing today, is to streamline certain processes. It doesn't eliminate humans yet.
Yeah.
And you probably never do want to eliminate the human oversight of quality assurance of these types of things, because left to their own devices, that would probably be one of those things that would drift, when we were talking last week about true north and magnetic north.
Yes.
There could certainly be a point of where we've drifted off course, Captain. And we need to make some, and now you're into the cleanup portion as opposed to the keep up portion. So one of those
Right.
things is to be able to incorporate humans into the whole mix is approvals. And like you were mentioning, you don't want to be entering in these bills themselves, but you typically don't want to post these things if they're not approved to do that. So talk about approvals and those types of things in your scope of working with clients.
Yeah, so if we're just example A would be Bill.com. Bill.com does have a lot of really wonderful approval policies that you can set up within their system, and then they're still kind of customizable by every bill that gets put in. But as part of, in my firm, if we're the ones processing payment, we only will process what our client has approved. So if that step gets missed, then those bills don't get paid, because obviously we don't want to be reliable. Like, we don't want to be at fault if something got paid in error. So the approval processes are for your safety as a firm owner, but also for your client, to make sure that the items and the information going in is accurate, that that bill was truly done. And typically you want someone in the role of who knows that that work occurred, right? So the job supervisor, somebody in admin is not likely to be the best person, because they may not know the job statuses or know that this last week this house did have rough plumbing done, and so this bill coming in is legit. So someone that is able to pull estimates on a job and confirm that work was done, it was confirmed done to their standards, is super, super important. On the other side is receipt processing. No matter what service that you're using for that, if you're doing receipt processing, that approval process is us going in as the accounting professionals and reviewing it. But the job supervisors, again, are the ones saying that this is how these need to be coded. So we're requiring our clients to have their job supers log in through HubDoc, review, make notes of the cost code and the project, and then that's when we'll go in, and once they have that note, then we can go in and we can enter that information and confirm its accuracy. But there's then the third check, because if we're invoicing off of those payables, then their invoice review process, the invoice creation and review process, is a third attempt, kind of like another set of eyes that gets put on that information to make sure before it gets sent out to the client, the builder's client, your client's client, that information is true and accurate, and make sure no notes need to be added or anything like that. So any additional information that might be necessary to explain a large bill or something like that. So there's stages of the approval process, but super, super important in all of them.
Yeah, and QuickBooks Online Advanced is really the only QuickBooks Online version that has some sort of built-in workflows and automation approval process. It's nice because you have 25 users to work with, so you've got plenty of people that you can incorporate into that. You've got the workflows area where you can tell it to do what you want it to do. You can split out, make multi. I'm trying to think of the description. The describer of it is that if you've got multiple workflows where it's a certain dollar amount, or if it's a certain vendor, you can have those things flow out to different people, and they could alert. QuickBooks can alert them through an email or even a notification on their mobile app, so that they can go in and approve that, to eliminate the friction of, of a human nagging them, right?
I do a lot of nagging in my job.
So yeah, don't get into this if you don't like bugging people. But this technology is taking out some of that nagging for you, right? So you can set up automatic reminders and those types of things to do the gentle reminding, right? I saw a commercial actually for another provider of expense management, Ramp, which I did put a link in the chat for a side-by-side comparison that we have for online bill payment solutions. So you can always go and take a look at that blog article and see, kind of see how these things stack up between the different ones, because a lot of people or a lot of apps in this space are doing a lot of these things to help streamline these workflows, whether it's a bank with Relay or Ramp. But the commercial, as what got me on this topic here, the commercial was a woman going around to each person and asking them for the receipts, and then, and then of course they do the lol shrugs of, I don't got it, because when you ask somebody is typically not the right time for them to actually respond to doing these things.
Right.
And tools like Ramp and Bill.com and all of these other ones help streamline the whole process of, automated nagging.
Yeah. I like
or,
that.
they may call it, gentle reminders. But,
I think you can actually title it what you want when you set up those reminders in Ramp, which is kind of cool. I just started talking to them because they are an all-in-one platform for receipt capture and bill payment. And now they're actually doing check cutting for you. So that was kind of the holdup of why I never moved my clients off of Bill.com, was because a lot of my clients, not all of their vendors were signing up for EFT. And so we needed someone that did bill pay, but provided check cutting and distribution services as well. And for a long time, Bill was the only one.
Yeah. And, we all have our favorites. So we have, on the article, somewhat subjective or objective, I should say, idea of, side-by-side comparison, because, one person's automation might not be what other people need, right? So there's all sorts of variables that flow into, well, what's the best one? Because people ask me all the time, what's the best X, right? It's like, well, it depends, right? But I think Ramp is fast becoming that all-in-one solution, especially when you're using online, because a lot of times you can work within their free product, and that was one of the things that I disliked about Bill.com. Yes, it's got a lot of functionality, but the cost factor when it comes to getting the technology that you need or the features that you need, you have to pay for users and then the transactions and all those things. So Bill.com is got its should be looking in the rearview mirror, because I think Ramp is quickly coming up behind them.
Yes, I agree.
What other? So you talked about Double, which was Keeper. What kind of automations and workflows do you find that now Double is solving for you and your firm?
Honestly, Double is going to be what it's just the product releases. I was on the call with them yesterday to go over some of their top releases and what was to come, and it's pretty incredible what the system is built out to do and what it can handle. We use it for all of our time tracking, and we use it for all of our task management. It's also now our client portal. We'll be using it for all of our receipt captures. And for our high level clients, it has built in we can create custom like KPIs off of it, which is pretty phenomenal and fantastic, because a lot of stuff that we were doing prior to is a lot of our clients are in the plus version, not the advanced. And so a lot of the stuff we were building out for our clients to make it the way that they needed to see it and everything, because it's always different by person, was we had to export data and build it in Google Docs. And so This is making sort of a big change for ease of publishment. We're not having to utilize more Google Docs to handle what we're trying to communicate out to our clients, or when we're having our calls with them to go over their finances and to review these KPIs with them. So it's been pretty phenomenal. What the system did in general to get me to move over, and then now just 4 months into it, of after signing up, we haven't been live on it for 4 months. My firm just moved on to it in November, but I wanted to or late October, I wanted to understand the product entirely myself before we moved everyone onto it. But
right.
It's solved a lot of our issues with our clients as well. So, and the communication, holding them responsible, but also vice versa, then holding us responsible. So that's been really cool. And internally, as a firm owner, it's really helped me with my job costing, because I job cost myself. So it's actually got systems built into it where I would export everything. We used ClickUp before, which was a great product, but we used ClickUp with harvest time tracking built in. And I mean, it would probably at month end and quarter end to do my job costing, it would take me hours of building out documents. Even though I had a template, it took hours because there's just so much customization that had to go into the development of it. So this I can easily, I've set the tasks and the workflows and everything up so that it aligns with how I internally job cost, which is also how I quote and propose to our clients. So it's been a really big game changer for us as a firm.
Yeah. So I did put in links in the comments, as well as there's a QR code above my shoulder somewhere that you can find out about Double, which used to be called Keeper. So sometimes, if you've been using Keeper for a while, changing the name is hard to it's hard
like
to do sometimes.
Changing it to just Bill. Like I still out of habit, Bill.com.
Right, because I mean, especially when you were talking about it, right? Like, who's Bill? Like who? Like who is Bill? Not who's Bill. Who apostrophe S Bill, or whose bill is this? It can get really. I'm really messing up the transcription, I'm sure, because it's going to be trying to figure out what is the grammatical context of what I'm talking about. Bill.com.
Why were they so confused?
Exactly. And then, so just to kind of recap here, that QuickBooks Online Advanced has some built-in automations and workflows and functions that you can work within. The other features of QuickBooks Online Advanced that are beneficial is you have 25 users to work with, and you have some predefined roles that are already in there, like bill approver and bill clerk, and those types of things, to be able to have access and limit access to things that you don't want them to see within their QuickBooks. But and we were talking right before we went on, some of those things are just kind of hard coded, and you have some surprises of, hey, maybe they have access to projects which you want them to, but they don't have access to the project reports that you want them to. And then it gets into, you're going to need to upgrade to Intuit Enterprise Suite in order to have all of the restrictions or functions that you want, which comes with a price tag. So having these other third-party applications that feed into QuickBooks sometimes allows people to not have QuickBooks Online Advanced. Maybe they have QuickBooks Online Plus for that core functionality of what they need to, and then you have these other applications to do the things that you want them to do, and they do them pretty well, because that's their thing, right? Is, Bill does bills, right? So you have those features in where they live. Do you find that people want, do most companies crave to be in one place, or are they okay with, doing different workflows and different applications?
I think that it depends. We have some clients that I want to say, I'm trying to think of like the nicest way to put this so that it doesn't come across like as a generalized statement, but I want it, so I'll just say it, is that when some of our younger clients are open to more, if this application specializes in it, but some of our other clients might be like, I don't want to have to learn another system. I just learned this one. So I'd like this to just be the powerhouse of what we do with everything. And I don't want to deal with anything else outside of that.
Yeah. So that kind of feeds into, like what we were talking about in the past of, people who are coming from QuickBooks Desktop, where they're kind of used to, an all-in-one type of solution with limited integrators into their QuickBooks,
right?
Might be better suited. I don't even know if that's proper, but might be better suited for something like a QuickBooks Online Advanced, where they feel more comfortable not venturing out into the app integrator ecosystem of, okay, well, now I got to log into this for that, or I got to go over here for this, so for the
clients that we do end up using there's a lot of stuff to use that have come from that desktop product, but don't want to have to make that big commitment of the price tag for the other one, because it's a bit more than what they're probably thinking they paid for that desktop that they may have had unsupported for however long, because not everybody upgraded every single year, right, until it was kind of forced to make that decision. Is that we had to basically create sort of like a mind map for them. Like, here is the link that you use when you go here. And we would walk them through how to basically keep that web page, that mind map of what does what, and here's the flow of it. Like, pin this to your desktop. So when you open your computer, this is here. So when you're working on the screen, you've got this here, and or print it out. But we would build, a workflow or in a mind map sort of format, to say this is what you're using this for, and here's your login. Here's what you're using this for, and this is what your login is.
Do you find that there is a question that you ask on your discovery or customer intake that kind of allows you to, I was just realizing my hands are backwards because they're crossed in front of me. But just in case, for those that people are looking, like, how does his thumbs get on the on the inside? Sorry, ADD is a real thing. Yeah,
that water.
I'm almost south of the equator, so that's why things are backwards. What was I asking you? Oh, do you find that there is a question that you can ask your prospective clients to determine that, hey, maybe their one recommendation might be better suited for them, or do you find that out later?
No, well, I mean, a discovery call is the perfect time for you to sort of find everything out as much as possible, because that might help you to determine if they're a good fit for you in general, but also, is this someone that you want to support, and can you support? Because if you don't have systems in place or know of systems to put in place to make it so that they could be more successful, then you probably shouldn't be taking them on as a client anyways. So having that conversation, I don't know if I have like a whole list of questions that I'll sort of pick through. I do a lot of personality initial questions because I want to see if we're a good fit. After that, if it seems like we're definitely not, I don't need to take more of their time and I don't want to give them more of mine. So those are always my initial questions, and I get a lot out of how they answer those questions. But definitely a part of a discovery call that we do is part of learning about the client, how they've done things in the past, and you can learn about about that person when you ask them how things were managed in the past, as long as they're the right person to talk to. Right? Sometimes you're talking to the owner. And on discovery calls, I do ask that if it is an owner that has office staff that used to help them that they're moving away from, that person is a part of our call, because I'm going to have specific questions that the owner, if they didn't do it, will need to be there to have that conversation and answer my questions. So it is it's important to be able to have that conversation. And it can be, I don't know, it can be worded so many different ways. You don't have to outright come out and say, like, are you open to using a bunch of different applications, or are you just one person, one fits all? Because there's ways of learning about somebody and how they've historically done it and how they foresee the future of this company of theirs, and use that information to build out the right process for them based off of what they provide to you. Especially the personality test does tell you if somebody has the bandwidth or interest in learning new things, or if they just kind of like old school yellow pad want to stick to it.
Right, because just because they've done things a certain way doesn't mean that that's the most efficient way to do these things. I get great joy of sharing these technological advances with people who don't have done things the hard way. I'm using air quotes there, but the tried and true way that they've worked with it in the past. But when we can automate those things or streamline those processes, yes, there is a learning curve to learning anything new, right? It's not just everything is always intuitive when you log in, and that's part of the frustration. Is if you have this ecosystem of applications that are kind of working within each other, the experience of navigating the learning curve, where do I go to do these things, as is homogenized in one application, might be a better solution as opposed to detailed level of things that they want to functionalities with the 80 20 rule, right?
That's why relationship creation as a firm owner is important to develop with other professionals like yourself, or yourself, right? Like, so I went to you and I had a big problem with one of my biggest clients and said, I need help. How do I handle this situation? Because it was outside of my know-it-all. We can't know everything about everything, right? So my focus has been accounting. And so you are more on the technical side of how the systems work that I use, or know other systems that can help us create or do things better or quicker or automated. So having you as a resource, is important, as by friend or more, you know what I mean? So you specialize in that, and we appreciate you for doing that. And I appreciate you for doing that too, because I don't think that in my brain can handle all of that.
Right. It's great to have a team, because you are better together than you are, the sum of, what is it? The sum is greater than the parts. There's a saying in there somewhere. And by
Okay.
the way, my hands are fixed, so I
Yes, they're back to normal.
right. My thumbs aren't reversed.
Are we drinking Diet Coke, or is that
Oh,
like a
it,
Mexican?
it, it
Oh,
is
okay.
it is Pepsi. They're a Pepsi facility here, but it's
Oh, that's
Pepsi
great.
Light.
And they,
See, it's a Pepsi
oh,
Light,
light.
not Diet.
Yeah. And I think I remember when I was trying to make avocado toast and I went to the store and I was asking for lemons and they kept pointing me to the lime. I'm like,
Yep.
no, they're yellow. There
Yes.
aren't any lemons in Mexico. That's what I was told.
Right. Right. Yeah, and then they'll say, and that's what lemons are, and then
Yeah.
but yeah,
This.
the margaritas are with limes, but they'll ask if you want lemons in it. So one other workflow automation tool that we want to kind of address is some of these applications do have integrations between each other, but sometimes they're not exactly the way that you want them to. So sometimes there's a need for some kind of bridge automation, right? So just because it works with QuickBooks, again, I'm using the air quotes there. Where they advertise, it integrates seamlessly, another air quote word that is a trigger word for me, is not exactly the way that you want them to do that. Or you have multiple systems that you might want to be impacted by a trigger or an automation. And Zapier is probably the most common of those tools, but there are others that are out there that do the similar thing, where there is a trigger where somebody does something, and then that can then trigger automations in not just QuickBooks but also other applications as well, right? So
Right. Cause and
what
effect.
type of zaps, I guess, or automations have you been able to do with Zapier?
I don't actually have anything hooked up to our QuickBooks for Zaps, but we use it between communication of our website and our CRM service, which also then zaps over into our task management. So we use it for the workflow of essentially incoming prospects that come through the website, or project interest and stuff. So all of that stuff is automated within our firm for that stuff, and it's all connected through Zaps, the cause, the effect, and it took me a long time. I really wish ChatGPT was like around for me when I was setting that up.
Yeah.
But it's a great tool to have. It's helpful. And if something breaks, it does email you to tell you that it broke, which is like one of my favorite parts, instead of being like, I'm pretty sure something was supposed to come in here. And so I do appreciate that. But sky's the limit with Zaps, it looks like to me, when I'm in there playing around with what they can do and what they can communicate and push around from one product to another.
And the concept of Zapier is that you don't need to necessarily know coding, right? To help with these automations. It's typically there will be an application, and then there will be a set of triggers off of that application, and then there's a set of actions into that application, and you can just like you said, the sky is really the limit, right? And you can get into the coding weeds inside of Zapier, and of course, they're trying to build in AI and those types of things to help you streamline that whole process. But to your point, yes, I use Kajabi at School of Bookkeeping, which does not integrate with QuickBooks. Right, so that is where I will use Zapier to be able to do that. So I can do like, for example, well, another thing that I do is I have some people helping me, and they will use the task management software, which can trigger an email, or if an email comes in for a certain thing, you can filter the email. And then what I have it actually do is when that email comes in, I know, okay, well, I got to make a bill and I got to make a bill credit. Well, I can take that email as the triggering event, and then the Zapier actually does all that for me, right? So, so I can create the bill and the bill credit, and then I would love if it would pay those things, but that's that's one of the things that you don't want to do, right? Because when you can streamline those automations, then it's less, into the weeds or into the day to day of doing these things. So you definitely want to identify the things that are automatable,
Yeah.
And then that leaves you with, well, what do we still need to have humans do? Do you map that out with your clients? As far as, here's where we see efficiencies.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually, part of my year-end process, why it's so insane, other than launching a new business, is that I know that like every year, everyone always tells me, why do you have to rewrite your proposals and send them out? But it is because of automation changes that I update this information. Part of our proposal is not just an acceptance on their end of us being their accounting professionals, but it's also them accepting that we're now implementing these other things to make things easier for everybody. So I'm very open and honest with our clients about what software that we're using because I want them to be involved. I'm not just here to do everything for you, but if something were to happen, I want you to be aware of what we're doing and when and why and how. And so these things are written in the proposal itself. So I just sent out a bunch of new proposals, not just like a month ago, just in giving our clients that we previously currently have been using Google Sheets to do all of our job costing reports for them. So that estimate versus actuals. And now I've said, okay, I'm pretty happy with where QuickBooks Advanced is. So if you are interested in making the move over to QuickBooks Advanced, they will support you in this way and give you these reports directly. The cost, however, is this difference, but on this other side of it, because of how I propose all of my contractor and designer clients, is I have our fixed accounting fee. And then there's a per job fee, which accounts for if our work goes up or our work goes level and the time commitment comes down based off of the number of active jobs that they have us working or they have going on. So it's a completely separate fee, but part of that too is the time commitment of exporting and updating reports manually outside of the QuickBooks. So now I'm saying, hey, I can reduce that per project fee dramatically because it's more time consuming to build those out. It's time consuming to keep them up to date, especially we could try to protect it all we want, but sometimes just things happen and then we have to rebuild or dig in and research what went wrong, especially on clients that are doing large custom home builds. It's so important that those are accurate because there's so many more transactions that go into it. Accuracy across the board is important, but especially when we're talking about a large number and volume of transactions. The more transactions that go into that report, the more likely something might break or the pivot stops working and doesn't pick up on something, or if you accidentally import the work document differently than the way that it was there previously, or QuickBooks decides that now we're not going to give you this, the format is going to change on how your reports are going to export now that we've updated our products and services. So those things change, and that's a lot of manual work. So now I'm saying, let's do advanced, that you're paying more for that product, but you're paying us less per job because now we can just utilize the service that's built into that.
Yeah.
So
like,
that was a long answer, but
but it's also, one of those things where, like, if you're doing these complexities, whether it's like, okay, you're using your PayPal for not just receiving money but also sending money out, that's a little bit more complicated. So you as someone who needs to support that should have your prices appropriate, for the level of complexity.
yeah.
And then, on top of that, they accept multi-currency, right? So that's another degree of difficulty, right? It's kind of like diving or gymnastics, right? You can do somersaults, all day, but if you add a twist to things, they score appropriately. So you should price appropriately based off of that. And that's kind of one of the ways that you can help accountants in this field to price their services appropriately with your bookkeepers for contractor group, right?
Yes, it is a big part of it. Honestly, I think one of the resources on our for our members, my discovery process is very detailed. I wrote it out years ago. I've obviously modified it, but it's probably one of the larger folders that I built out and about how I go about it, questions that I ask, why I ask those questions. So I try to provide as much information and resources as possible to our members. And I'm really excited because today is kind of the coinciding with our last series podcast. We're actually doing a soft launch. So on our Facebook page too, there is a link there that you can click into. So if you go to Bookkeeping for Contractors group on Facebook or LinkedIn, there is a link and you can sign up through there. And it's just an interest looking form, but it will trigger events like what we were talking about, workflows and triggers. And essentially we're offering the first 15 people to come on and you'll get a discount for 3 months. And a big part of that is that we'll also be part of that coming on for the soft opening is that we're looking for feedback. So you get access to all the resources and discounts and stuff. And we're having a wonderful way to kick off January, where our real go live is January 1st. But the first week of January also represents in our world 1099 season. So to sort of kick that off, we are doing and hosting how I within my firm handle the 1099 season, which is actually an all year round process. But we're going to summarize it and provide our resources of what we do internally with our members on that call. So it's really, really exciting.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what 2026 brings for you, Shanna, with this great community that you're building, and we're elated to be a part of that with you. We do have a QR code for learning more about the B for CG group up in the corner, and we've also got a link directly in the comments wherever you happen to be watching or listening. YouTube, LinkedIn. I don't know if it goes out to LinkedIn. LinkedIn's kind of persnickety with the feeds. We'll have to go back afterwards and put the links in there, but they should be in the descriptions for the B for CG group or website. And next week and the week after, because of the holidays, we'll take a slight hiatus. We will play some, but don't worry, we'll have some live replays. And I think next week we'll redo the job costing overview one that we had done. So if all of you didn't get enough job costing and you just want to, well, let's just back up a second. We'll replay that one next week. So we'll reconvene the workshop series. Rachel will be back. So unfortunately, we won't always have Shanna with us, but maybe we'll have you on as a guest to see how things are going with the B4CG group.
I love it.
Maybe I can join you on whatever it is that you're doing over at the Bookkeeping group. So we will not see the last of Shanna.
I hope not.
Right. So thank you for joining us today. And Shanna, it's been a pleasure having you on for this series. And for you've been a great gift to me so appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, don't make me cry again.
Again?
I don't need a repeat of Vegas. My husband made fun of me for weeks.
Oh, geez. Well, that was slightly alcohol induced for us. But we have I appreciate you joining us, and love to see more of you on the workshop series, and hope you and your family and all of those watching or listening also have a wonderful holidays, and we'll see you in 2026.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dan.
Have a great week, and we'll see you next time. And I'm searching for the outro video. There it is.
Happy holidays.